As part of NBC's week-long series on kids under pressure and college admissions, we're looking at all the ways the pandemic has already changed an already daunting process.
Todd Rinehart joins us now. He's the president of the National Association for College Admissions Counseling. Todd, good morning. Thank you for being with us. Now, of course, as we've been talking about for years now, this has been an incredibly challenging time for students, whether it be an emotional, personal impact or the difficulties of remote learning. Some schools now have adjusted their application process to accommodate those difficulties and to recognize them. Tell us about those changes.
Yeah, it's been quite a year, both for colleges and universities and for students, right? One thing that you saw, because of the pandemic, a lot of testing sites for SAT and ACT were not available. So right off the bat, over the summer and into the early fall months, schools started to say, we're going to have a number of applicants who won't be able to get a test. And we currently have that as a requirement. So the vast majority of schools went test optional. So that was certainly one barrier we were able to remove. Not that we could make the pandemic any easier for families, but at least was one small thing we could do to get people through the admission process.
Todd, your group, the National Association for College Admissions Counseling, recently created a commission to rethink the entire admissions process. Tell us more about that.
That's right. You know, I think like a lot of professions, right, during the pandemic, we're all thinking, are there things when we come out of the pandemic we could be doing better, differently? And especially in the college admission process, are there barriers we could be removing? And we're thinking both admission and financial aid. So in admission, for example, do we always need 2 or 3 essays? Could you have 1? Do you always need 2 or 3 recommendations? Could you maybe have 1 or none? Testing is certainly being talked about. You see some schools going test optional, but perhaps you have some that are now moving to test blind, where they're saying they're not going to accept those at all. And then on the financial aid side, because that's a big part of the admission process, do we really need to ask all the questions that we ask? And some schools have actually 2 applications they require to apply for aid, and then they request additional documents. A lot of times they'll ask a low-income family to verify the information that they've provided. So it's like you're jumping through hoops to prove that you don't have any money. And I think, this group of professionals, and it includes college presidents, it includes admission and financial aid professionals, they're going to get together and say, look, are there barriers to access to college that we could either make simpler or even just completely remove? So that's the goal.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of good information there, especially because so many people have been financially impacted during this time. Now, Todd, early data published by the Wall Street Journal suggests that selective schools have actually seen an increase in applicants. You just mentioned those test requirement changes. Is that possibly to blame here? How could that impact the admissions process going forward?
Yeah, it's certainly hard to know on every school why they had an increase. But I think our guess is certainly that test optional probably did open the door where some students thought, hey, you know what? I have a very good curriculum. I've been working hard. I have very good grades. I maybe haven't tested well, but now when I don't have to submit that, and I will be evaluated strictly on my curriculum and the work that I've done over a 3 or 4 year period, maybe I have a more competitive chance. So I do think that probably is one of the reasons schools are up in applications.
All right, Todd, the pandemic has sparked some interesting and much-needed conversations about the admissions process. Sorry, Todd. Thank you so much. Yes. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Todd.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.